So today we're going to be meeting up with Ollie Hindle, who has built up a £3.8 million portfolio in just 6 years. He's going to be taking us around some of his projects in Teesside. Some are just starting, some are more towards the end, but we're going to get to pick his brains on how he's done it. So yeah, come on round.
Hi guys, my name's Ollie Hindle. I'm here today with Matty. Go around a few projects that we've got going on in Teesside. One's at various different stages. Here we are at the first one in Billingham. Go on mate, after you. You've got to stay there. I don't think you were coming in.
Ollie, talk us what the plans are for the project and how it came about.
It's a 2-bedroom, mid-terrace house, but going to convert it from a 2 to a 3, just to help get the value from it. The exit of a sale at the back end.
So you're flipping this one?
Yes, we are, mate. Yeah. Plan is to sell. If we couldn't, just say, yeah, we'd refinance and rent it. But yeah, the plan is to flip. It was an off-market deal that got put to us from somebody that I bought a property from last year that was also off-market, so it kind of came recommended. So. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Was that from a sourcer or a landlord direct?
No, this was his main residence. He lived here with his wife. His wife sadly passed away, and he lived elsewhere. Then he kind of wanted to sell, so didn't want to take it to market. Wanted a quick sale, so we were able to complete in. I think it worked out about 6 weeks in the end. So
it's pretty quick, isn't it? For now?
Yeah, I think it might have taken sort of 3 or 4 months if it went sort of with an agent and then with a sort of a regular residential buyer. Might have taken a little bit longer, so yeah, quick completion.
How did you manage to pick this up for?
60,000. There wasn't that much negotiation. He was quite a relaxed fella. He wasn't necessarily motivated by money. It was more maybe time. That was kind of favourable in a way, and we stuck to our word with completion timescales. Yeah. And yeah, helped him out.
Sale price, if we're looking to achieve on the back end?
Yeah, I spoke to a few local agents, and I think they were of the view, once it's a 3-bed, sort of 120, 125. It remains as a 2-bed, which when we got upstairs, I'll show you, that would probably be more around the 100 level. So they're roughly the numbers. And this, in terms of the spend, you won't get any change, unfortunately, out of probably 30,000 with what's going on here. I mean, yeah, board that up and plaster over it, and nothing structural that's going to change in here, mate. It's kind of wallpaper off, doors off. Needs a rewire, so there's going to be a lot more sockets.
Will you change the frame? Will it be the flip, or would you keep this in?
It's a good question. Do you pull the frames out, don't you? The joiners often find them tricky with them being old, and I'm not a joiner, so I don't know the sort of the complications of hanging doors when the frames are old. But probably we'll keep the frame, but maybe change the architraves, change the skirting perhaps.
I think it's from the developer's point of view, you've got to think like that spec, if you're flipping it, it's different to if you're going to be well, I would do it different to if you were going to refinance it and rent it out.
It's a good point, that, yeah. In terms of if you were flipping it, you would be more inclined to
do little bits like change the frames, change the windows.
Whereby if you were refinancing it and renting it, you
wouldn't do those bits.
You wouldn't go as far. Yeah, interesting.
Would you be the same, or?
I probably would be, just having thought about it there in terms of what a buyer sort of at that kind of level, maybe it would be a first-time buyer, they might notice those sort of things, whereby if it's being refinanced, a valuer is not going to be as fussed as to whether the skirting, the architraves are the original architraves or whether they're brand new. So yeah, fair point. Okay. In terms of, I've had Howdens in because they do our kitchens, and essentially they're going to dictate where sort of things are going to get laid out, where the boiler's going to go and things. So yeah, I've got the plans. I've got the plans in the car.
This is a really nice size, isn't it? Like it's like you can sort of. You're going to put a breakfast bar in?
I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be a breakfast bar.
How are you going to lay it out?
I'll be honest, mate, I can't remember it. Unless I have to get the plans out. There's some larder units there. So the boiler goes back there. A couple of larder units from memory feature there. And then doing away with that side, I think the kitchen, most of the kitchen's perhaps this side.
So you don't have a dining room in here?
No, you don't.
So you're planning some space for like a little round table or...
And table to that side, which is what I think it was. I'll have to check the plans, but it was something along those lines. But you're right, I mean, it's... A lot of these, all these house types in this area of Billingham will all be somewhat the same, won't they? So, kind of, without doing anything kind of too over the top extensions and things, it kind of is what it is, and you've got to utilise the space as best you can, I guess.
It's about gardens always being similar to that, and that would then give me an indication of what I thought needed doing. That's
a good shout, actually, just to see if like people have done like a Rolls Royce job where they've got like, I don't know, porcelain tiles or whatever, or whether alternatively they've just got gardens where completions have examples like that where it doesn't matter as much, I guess. Not much to see down here really. The fuse board will, once the rewire's gone on, things will stay in there. So, yeah. Okay, mate. Upstairs there's a bit more to it with going from a 2 to a 3 bed and moving stuff around. So there's a little bit more to it. You'll have to excuse a little bit of the mess. Plumbers were here yesterday and they've kind of drained the system, ready for the rip out to start tomorrow. So, a bit of a mess in them, Matty, but...
I guess this is going to be a bedroom?
Yes, correct, yeah. Because it feels like quite a big room, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe a bit oversized for the actual square footage and layout of the house, perhaps. Yeah, that's right, mate, yeah. So, do you want me to try and explain what we're going to do?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Right, so, in this bedroom here, again, it's a fair size. So the plan that we've got, and you can see it on a few of the neighbouring properties, is relocate the bathroom to the front. So, in turn, there's going to be a studwork wall that would run tight up to this bay window. So, I know it feels a little bit tight. Bathroom's going to go in here, utilise that sort of toilet, check with the drainage that can connect into the existing network. So bathroom here, you then get a separate access, so that back on the landing, cut a new opening out, Matty, to get you into this bedroom, which might end up being the second biggest. What is now the bathroom will be the biggest, and then the one in the back corner will be the third. So then you've gone from 2 to 3 bedroom to help get the value up a bit.
And other properties in the area have done that?
If you have a little look out this window, you see what looks like number 57 with the brown door, brown windows. You can notice above their front door they've got frosted glass. That to me looks like they've done it. And there's maybe a few, that one there, 47, they've also done it. They've got a frosted glass window above their front door. So our front door here, when we came in, is here. So that tells me that they've probably done that.
Should knock on the door,
so you can have a look. You can see how you've done it.
Yeah. Someone done that before. Someone done that in the house not far from here, Wolverston.
Yeah.
Yes. Someone the investor I was working for, when we were doing the refurb, we knocked on the next door. Was like, "Can I show you what I want it to look like?"
Can I ask how you would do it? Because what I've just suggested isn't maybe the best way of doing it. Can you think of a different way with maybe configuring it in a different layout as to how you might do it? Somewhat limited though, because this is the bulkhead of the stairs. So you've got to, you can't take this out. You can only play with this, which is pretty small, but you can, toilet can go in there, and then
I think you've got much the only way to go with it, I would say, unless you really want to take space off the other rooms.
Yeah, there was another, I don't think we're going to go with it, but there was another one. I don't know if you want me to bore you with it. Right. This wall, which is non-load bearing stud wall, moves tight to where that window is. So that goes there. That then in turn gives you more room here. So you can slot a bathroom kind of in the middle here. It's difficult to picture because you've got this wall slap bang in the middle. So you kind of have to imagine that that's moved down. And then wall here, so there'll be a door here. And then this then becomes your third bedroom, which would be quite small. And you'd be restricted by, because we're not changing windows and things, as to where the reveal is on the window. So that's the other alternative way of doing it.
Did you run that past the builder?
I spoke to the joiner who's going to help us with doing it.
What was his feedback on that?
He'd experienced in house types like this in Billingham, he'd experienced this, but not what we explained a minute ago.
Okay,
I just didn't know if it'd be a bit sort of kind of claustrophobic, a little bit tight perhaps, but...
I think with projects like this, at the sort of end of the market it's at, you don't really want to be getting architects in.
No, you're spot on. No, you don't.
So you've got to sort of be quite creative with the people who you have around you, and obviously also your own ideas as well. Because once you start adding architect fees in and stuff like that, it starts to cut into the margin.
These aren't high value. The sort of, if the numbers go as we hope they do, you should do okay out of it. But you're right, you can't just spend because we're not. Yeah, they're kind of lower value flips, aren't they? Really. So yeah, you've got to be sensible.
So you say £60,000 purchase price, 120, 25 value, 30 grand refurb,
and then fees on top.
About 90, 100k with fees ish.
Yeah, towards that sort of level, I would expect. Yeah.
So you're expecting to make around 20, 25k pre-tax profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, around that level.
What would be the breakdown of that refurbishment cost?
In terms of how much would be put towards electrics, plumbing? That's a good question. I've actually had to produce a schedule of works because we might come onto this in a bit more detail another time, but the bridging lenders funded the works on this, so I had to provide a schedule of works which allocated the spend to each kind of trade. So yeah, I don't know if you want me to bore you with it, but
let's do it.
I think in terms of the electrics and rewire, sort of 3,000 to 3,500. Kitchen at a similar sort of level. Plumber with a new central heating system, it's going to be more like sort of 5,000. Plastering, it's going to be a full plaster. Once all this wallpaper comes off, I can't see the walls being in great condition. So full plaster, that's going to, based on other ones we've done recently with our plasterer, that's going to be thousands, probably looking around again the 3,000 level for his time. Flooring, again, around that sort of ballpark for kind of whether we do laminate downstairs and carpet obviously upstairs and perhaps like an LVT in the bathroom. You'll quickly get to the 30, you'll quickly spend the 30. 100%.
At what point do you finalise all of this? Because obviously you've got the keys, right? So is this not finalised, or do you finalise as it's going through the project, and you might have overspent, so you might underspend a little bit? How do you run them?
It's quite loose. I've gotten, obviously me saying 30,000 is kind of an educated idea as to kind of what comparable properties that we've refurbished recently have cost. But it's not like, I haven't gone out to the plumber and say, give me a quote, because sort of with the relationship with him, so there's an element of trust involved and things like that. So, and same with the electrician, the decorator, the plasterer, etc. So no, there's kind of nothing kind of confirmed with them, but I've just got a rough idea as to what it's going to come in at.
So how do you get that rough idea? Because that's what a lot of people are going to be wondering, like, how do you get the rough idea?
Good point. It's probably just doing it, isn't it? And the experience, and it comes on. You can have a rough guess by speaking to people or doing a bit of Googling and speaking to people that have done it. They'll be able to help you. But I think once you've done one and you knew the cost of what you spent on that, and you can apply that to the next one, you're going to be pretty clear going forward, aren't you?
Do you have day rates in mind in terms of, I pay my joiner £250 a day, I pay my plumber £300 a day, times that by how many days I think it's going to take to do, plus a rough estimate for materials? Is that how you would price it up in your head, or?
No, it tends to be more kind of on a price basis. So sometimes I net it back and say, oh well, the plasterer, he was in here for X amount of days, and divide by how many days he's done, and you can work out roughly what the day rate might sort of net back to. But usually it's not done on an hourly rate. It's more price.
Because you're using individual trades as well. You're not just using one-stop shop builder, are you?
No, I've always kind of managed trades individually, which is good in a way because you can. Well, I say it's good in a way. It's a pain at times because you're just trying to coordinate them. They've got their own work on, of course. They're busy. You're trying to obviously arrange for them to come in at the right time and things. But it was more to kind of save money in the first instance, rather than having just a builder that would do that for you and project manage the whole work. I've never done that. I wouldn't mind giving it a go, but I've always been a bit too tight for it, really.
Well, I think looking at this, what we do refurbs at, 30 grand is a nice budget. It's a good budget to have on this. So I would expect I don't think a builder would come in higher than that.
Do you know what I think?
Not from my experience, no.
In your opinion, if you were doing this, what do you reckon you could? Obviously you've got to factor in that you're going to have to rewire it. You're going to have to put new central heating in. You're going to have to do a new bathroom.
You are towards 30 grand, given the fact that new central heating and rewire, you're the best part of 10 grand just on those, aren't you? So you are getting up towards the 30 grand mark, but that would be with the builder to manage the individual trades.
No, interesting. I'm pleased that we're on a similar kind of wavelength and we're around that sort of level.
Because the refurb's really difficult because what type of doors do you get? What type of handles? Because you can pay £10 or you can pay £100 for handles.
True. Or maybe keep these on.
But just finally on the refurb side of things, how long would you expect this to take?
I'm probably a bit optimistic where sort of I'd say 8 weeks would be brilliant, but I know when you get into it, like today, nobody's here, they're starting tomorrow, I'd like people to be here and I'd like it to be moving.
Especially this wallpaper and stuff, you want off, don't you?
You do, and I'd like the joiner to be here for sort of first fixing so we can get the wall up so the electrician can put his sockets to, you know what I mean? And so, but I think really 8 weeks is probably a bit optimistic. It's probably going to be between 8 and 12 weeks, and around that sort of level I think we'd be happy with, and the less time on the bridge the better.
100%. How much is the bridge costing you on this one?
So it's with a bridging lender called Roma Finance where they fund the works. So it's a 12-month term. To be fair, the interest was actually paid, it was retained, so it was paid in advance. So let's just say we managed to exit within 6 months. So say 3 months refurb, 3 months in conveyancing at the back end, we would get 6 months refunded from the bridging lender. But
so you've got a huge incentive to get this
exactly,
haven't you, and flipped onto the mortgage.
It's not often the trades get that, but that is the case. You're right.
And so we're going to go around some of your other projects now, which are a bit further along
Yeah.
the process. So, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. So yeah, here we are, second project of the day. This one's a little bit further progressed. All first fix work's been done. It's been fully plastered. So yeah, go and have a look round.
Ollie, so we're inside project number 2. It's a bit further on. Before we go into the refurb, could you tell us a little bit more about how you come to find this project?
So yeah, it was on the market with the local agent, Browns. They're now part of Pattinson's. A few it tried to be purchased by residential buyers and sales fell through because there were structural issues with the house and it wasn't mortgageable. So yeah, Pattinson's then got in touch with us and said about this and said it kind of had to be a cash buyer.
Yeah.
We weren't in a position to and wouldn't anyway really put that much capital in one deal. So I knew the bridging lender would. So I got a bridge with together commercial finance on this one, and yeah, that's kind of how it came about. So it was on the market, structural issues, so it wasn't mortgageable, and yeah, no auction, just yeah, private treaty, just traditional sale.
And so talk us through the numbers on this one.
Right, so numbers on this, it was purchased for 123,750. It went to best and final offers. So there was a bit of a psychological I don't know what I was thinking at the time. 123,750 was anyway what we paid for it. From what agents have told me, these conservatively 200, they could do a little bit more. So sort of, yeah, maybe very early 200s with maybe what we've done with, yeah, getting another bedroom out of it and putting a downstairs toilet in, which we'll have a look at. In terms of the cost of the works, yeah, a minimum of 40,000 with what we've done here. It's a big house. There's been a lot of work, a lot of structural work that's gone on. So yeah, they're the high level numbers.
Yeah. So obviously with this one and the previous one that we've been around so far, you're looking to squeeze extra bedrooms in. Is that something you always look for when you're adding value or doing flips?
Yeah, so good question. Yeah, it is in terms of adding the value. You've got to, I think if you're buying at a discount and you've got a way of adding the value, often, yeah, additional bedrooms or putting downstairs toilets in a good way of doing it alongside kind of kitchens, bathrooms, rewires and central heating, boilers, etc. So yeah, that's kind of a common theme with the two that we've been to so far that we've done to try and help that. Yeah.
What's your expected profit on this one?
Good question. I think we were looking anywhere in the region between maybe 35 and 40,000 if things go to plan. With the amount of work and the size of it, it's taken kind of longer than maybe a normal refurb might. But yeah, they're rough kind of numbers.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, let's have a walk around and talk us through it.
With the structural cracking, Matty, there was on these internal walls that there were quite problems. Obviously, you can't see them now because we've done a method called like crack stitching, which is where you get these heli bars, these metal rebars. You grind out the mortar, you insert them in, and then I can't remember the rest of the technique that they use. But anyway, it was specified by the structural engineer to do that. So it wasn't any underpinning, it was this crack stitching method. So a lot of these internal walls here have been crack stitched, if that's a word. And yeah, kind of through here, we've had to do bits of repair work to satisfy that. Just did what the structural engineer and building control kind of told us to do.
What was that process like for someone who hasn't been through the process of sorting structural issues and getting structural engineers involved?
It was okay. You've kind of got to seek the advice. So you know there's a problem. So you've got to go to the professional for the advice. You listen to them and then you just do as you're told. You do what they tell you to do and then arrange for the work to be done.
Do you get handed a report to say this is the structural issue, you take that report to the structural engineer, or do you have to explain it to him, or do you need to get him round to do a survey?
So yeah, it was kind of a bit more relaxed than that. It was a bit more, the structural engineer, I mentioned to him what I thought the problems were. He said, Ollie, with what you're saying, it's kind of not good enough. I need to physically see it. So anyway, He comes out, gets his head around it, and then, yeah, kind of tells us what we need to do. And then it's just a question of passing that information on to the builder that we use to do the work. And then just doing it, really. Yeah. Not very exciting, but that's the process that we did.
But I mean, but when people hear structural issues, it often puts a lot of people off. Obviously, it didn't put you off on this occasion.
No, it's just a kind of like an added cost, a bit more of a time implication with doing the work. They're just short-term problems that you just kind of overcome and work round, and yeah.
I think that's what it sounds like. You've took your emotion out of it there, because you've just described it as like an extra cost and, a bit more work. I think you'd be like, oh my God, I'm not touching that. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be so many problems, and they'd get quite emotional and attached to that, hasn't it? Where it sounds like you took the complete opposite approach.
I think it's a fair way of putting it, and I think that's probably something that you have to do. It helps, and you can sort of see past problems rather than worrying about what the issues are, and if you know how you're going to rectify them, and you just need to do it, don't
Is
you?
this the first time you've done anything like that, or have you done stuff previously?
No, we've had issues with kind of structural problems before, where like the existing build and you've got like an extension on the back, and the extension might have moved slightly compared to the original build, and yeah, you've done like a crack stitching method before. But no, it's not that common. We don't really come across it that much.
This matty here, right? So let me think. So this was the kitchen.
There was a pantry here, and the door initially. So that behind you, that's like a stud wall. There is, I say it's stud, an element's block work, because there's a beam that we put in. So what happened before was, say if you were cooking your tea in here, right? And this was just my view. Say if you were cooking your tea here on a night, you'd have to walk, because this might not be quite big enough to get you a table in. So my view is that you have to walk all the way around there to go into your dining room and there. So I thought, why can't you just, and I might have not done the best thing here, but just a diagonal cut through there. So obviously you're sort of kind of linked from your kitchen to your dining room. It's a bit different, but obviously what that meant is steel beam and then a steel beam going that way. So it's like a T shape, isn't it?
Yeah.
Joining the two rooms. So you could be cooking here and your daughter could be messing around in there, and you can keep an eye on her and things like that. I was just thinking in terms of when we come to sell this, what would a family maybe want? And they might want to link the two rooms. So there's no going back now, we've done it, and here we are.
At what point did you factor that in? Did you already have that planned out when you'd viewed the property, or did you only come up with that idea once you were like part way through the refurb process?
I think we came up with the idea of doing that a bit more once we'd got the keys. We were doing the rip out, and we were actually thinking about, right, what are the kind of the... We always know roughly that it was going to need a rewire, it was going to need like new central heating, but it was maybe a bit more of an afterthought. I didn't necessarily, when I viewed it and offered on it, necessarily think about it. I just knew the numbers, in my opinion, we'll find out if it sells or not, that I thought they worked. But it was a bit more of perhaps an afterthought. It was not something I thought of when I first looked at it. But yeah, I mean, all new windows, Matty, they've been ordered, they're not here. So we're in a bit of a predicament here where the windows are coming on the 1st, which is tomorrow. But yeah, it's kind of all new windows throughout. So that £40,000 budget that I've said is, yeah, it's going to probably struggle to do it within that once you factored in cost of all the windows and things like that. Yeah, down here, it's not very exciting, but this place didn't have a downstairs toilet. So I know it's a bit tight and there's a few bits of materials and stuff here, but what I thought is, for the sale price, is going to be sort of 200,000. You're probably going to want to have a downstairs toilet, so we tried to utilise this area as best we could. Yes, it's small, but it's a utility area where you can say double stack a washer and a dryer. You've got space there for, I don't know, whatever people want to use that space for, but then you've got a downstairs toilet, you've got a radiator, small vanity unit and a toilet. Yeah, just trying to think of ways to what people want,
what they want
to help add a bit of value.
Yeah, makes sense.
Sorry, it's a bit tight in there, mate.
Yeah.
So yeah, because Matty before that was just like not a pantry, because that was the pantry, just like a utility, just with worktop space, but it didn't really have anything in. But obviously there was quite a bit of, it's pretty boring this, but we had to grind the floor out to obviously get the
waste.
soil.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of like, was that a big issue? Like, was that a big job?
Yeah, so knowing that we wanted to get a downstairs toilet in, it's what an end user would want to have. It was a question of how do we do it. So yeah, so what we've done in here then is there's a bit of a process to get the waste from the toilet to obviously connect into the existing drainage which is out here. So obviously had to dig a hole, connect it in, bit of drainage work obviously, but then in turn obviously, yeah, you have a downstairs toilet, which is an added benefit if you were living here. Bit more value at the back end.
Was that something that was planned on the front end, or was this something you got into it?
Yeah, this was actually something that we actually thought, yeah, we probably need to get down. Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, we knew one way or another we wanted to get this in here somehow. We thought about under the stairs, just through there, but we always knew that sort of the back of the house, drainage-wise, it was always going to be probably easier to do it here. But yes, there was a bit of work cutting out the concrete and things, but
it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
concrete,
yeah, it was. Yeah, I did it, and it was
a messy job.
Yeah, but it's done now, and yeah, hopefully it should help it sell and kind of what people want to have.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what, Matty? No, it's not. So whoever lived in here before, I think from what the agent told me, it was like an elderly lady. So she obviously spent, I don't know if she got a grant or whatever, so she had that installed. and we've just it wasn't positioned there. It was somewhere else. It was a bit further down. So we just the plumber lifted it off, kept it in the cupboard, and did his first fix, and then sort of popped it back on.
So he's put all new pipework in, and you just attach the boiler to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, it should be nice when it's done. Bit of light in that, if they work. Yeah, there's quite a lot of character to they take them for granted, but like these Newell posts would be original, and once that's all sanded down, paint it black, and have the spindles in white, I could picture it looking
Oh, 100%.
quite nice.
Like the stained glass. Are you keeping the stained glass?
Yeah, keep the stained glass.
I think the doors as well.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of prep work, sort of decorating wise, sanding them down, getting them to where they need to be before they can be painted. But yeah, you're right. Like we take the skirting off in some areas, but yeah, the original skirting and architraves and things. Yeah, it's nice. And I'll follow you up. You don't want to go in there. This is my version of squeezing a third bedroom in, and it's pretty shit, but it's...
This is a nice sized bathroom anyway. So it's 3, you're putting it to a 4?
No, sorry, it was a 2.
You're putting it to a 3?
And we're putting it into a 3.
I've done that by taking some space off the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so we've pinched... So this is stud.
But even this is a good size, so you haven't really killed the bathroom. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you think it's
I
alright?
think this is more than enough.
Yes, it's kind of what we did, pinch that off a bit, and then, yeah, we've got with these, Matty, you'll have seen these, it's a wall-hung toilet and a wall-hung vanity unit, so they're kind of, yeah, they're not on the floor, to the floor, they're fixed to that, so then you tile that, and you can have a mirror there, sort of shower here. The joiner's going to build a false wall,
Nice.
just to kind of separate the two, so, yeah, tile that side, tile that, and then maybe a little bit around the bath, perhaps. Yeah, it should look nice when it's done.
When you're ordering all the materials, or do you get the lads to do that?
The lads generally do it, and they say, yeah, are you happy with these taps or this bath or whatever? But yeah, no, the trades do that.
Do you give them an idea of what you want, or do you just give you a price? Do you give them a price and then they work towards that price? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. It's sort of quite fluid, really. They've got a catalogue in the van, and they're just like, Ollie, do you like these taps? And I just say, yeah, they look nice. They'd work in here, wouldn't they? And then they just get them ordered, and it's pretty relaxed like that, really.
Yeah, fair play. I suppose if you've got the relationship with them, and these are switches.
Yeah, that's the only downside. That is the third bedroom. But believe it or not, Matty, so this was like, let me think. Yeah, this wall, Matty, was here. It had like a very, very small shower in it, you know. And yes, it's not ideal as a third bedroom, but it was the only way without kind of taking like load-bearing walls down and really kind of having to spend mega money. This is kind of the only sort of downside to it, but yeah, you can fit a single bed in here, maybe a small office room for somebody. Yeah,
I'm thinking like if it's a young family and they've got a baby, could you fit a cot in here maybe?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, original fireplace.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I think once it's all decorated and things, it should look quite nice. That should look quite nice, and I think it's important. Somebody that maybe wants to buy or is interested in a property like this might want to see original features. So, rather than ripping it out and just plastering it over it, do you think it's a good shout?
100%. Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I think people appreciate the original features, don't they? Maybe it's just as I'm getting older, I'm actually starting to appreciate them a lot more as well. But I think people generally do, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because you see them less and less, and
yeah.
So, yeah, good to keep. And I think there's one in the front room as well. So
yeah, we live in a new build, and that's one thing. Like in our next house, we want those. The original features, the character that you just don't get in a new build nowadays.
No, I guess you don't, right? No. But then less problems. You'll have you won't in your new build for an HPC warranty. You won't have structural issues. And the like. So we're splitting this into 2. So a studwork wall was going to be just where you're stood. So split it. This would then be your third bedroom. There'd be studwork here. So you'd open your door roughly here, and you'd be into this room, and then in turn 1, 2, that room with the fireplace in being the third, and then you could have a massive bathroom at the back. But would it be a bit disproportionate? Anyway, we didn't do it. We are where we are, and there's no going back now. But that was just an idea that we had. But yeah,
just with the size of this property overall, did you consider HMO? Because I know people would consider HMO just with the layout and how big the property is.
Yes, in terms of HMO, yeah, good question. It would probably lend itself quite well. You could imagine splitting it up, couldn't you, and having maybe sort of quite feasibly or conceivably sort of 5 or 6 bedrooms or so with en suites and things. But with it always being a flip, no. I think if we were going to retain it and kind of maximise it in terms of how it would perform, an HMO would be a great shout.
So just on that point, it's probably worth talking about your portfolio. So is that made up of buy-to-let?
Yeah, so not very exciting. It's all single lets, buy to lets. At the moment, no HMOs, no service accommodation, which I know we've spoke about. Yes, looking into. But no, I think at the moment it's just residential buy to lets.
You say at the moment, is that something you want to change, or?
It is. I think we need to diversify and sort of rather than having all your eggs in one basket. I think the next step might be I'd be quite interested in commercial. But yeah, just all kind of single buy to lets at the moment. So pretty plain and simple, not very exciting, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now at the third property, flooring's just gone down this morning. It's been decorated. The end is in sight. So yeah, should we have a look?
Let's do it.
Yeah, this was bought in October 2023 with a tenant in situ. It was bought as part of like a wider portfolio of properties. Sort of a bit of learning from my side was probably lack of kind of due diligence on the tenant that was in occupation when we bought it. Because yeah, subsequently we haven't received any rent in 2024. So there was a process of unfortunately having
to incur all them costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no rent received until they were evicted in September.
Yeah.
And then yeah, the process with that wasn't it was straightforward. It was just lengthy, and obviously you're just absorbing. There's no. It's just a liability. There was no income coming in. It was just paying the mortgage every month with a tenant that wasn't paying rent, and it wasn't ideal. So just followed the process as to getting them sort of sadly kind of evicted, but maybe rightly so.
How did you find that process?
It was okay. It was done sort of by our letting agent rather than a solicitor. I got sort of costs from our solicitor. It's quite expensive.
Yeah.
Letting agent was familiar with doing it, so we got to do it rather than a solicitor.
You were happy with how the letting agent handled the process, and
Yeah. Like with serving notice and like going to court and things like that, there was a bit of an added complication where the tenant went into something called breathing space, which I think if you suffer from mental health, you might be eligible to go into breathing space, and it kind of makes you exempt from paying any of your debt, whether that be rent, mortgage, council tax, any utilities, car finance, whatever you've got. There was a period of 2 months where they were in that where you can't serve notice on them. So as soon as that period expired, you could serve notice and things. And we tried to work with the tenant, but when they're not replying to texts, calls, emails, voicemails.
Do you know where they went? Do you know?
I don't, to be fair. I think they went to a family member's house in the area. We tried to work with them. We tried to do what we could to sort of rectify the situation. But
do you know how much it cost in total with the lost rent, mortgage payment, and the costs with the letting agent and the eviction?
Yeah, so it's in the region of about £5,000. It is, yeah, and it's just gone, and that's not inclusive of what we've now had to do here. So kitchen, bathroom, partial rewire, flooring, decorating. Yes, yeah.
So will the works that you've done here add value to the property?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was bought initially on a bridge. Amongst kind of the bridge covered a few different properties in that one purchase under kind of one facility, and then refinanced out of them. Yes, it will add some form of value, but it's maybe not a value that you can get back because we've already exited the bridge onto a term buy to let.
Yeah.
I think it was on a 2-year fix, so there's still a decent stint left, maybe 18 months left on that before you can maybe realise a bit more value, or alternatively keep the loan to value at a sensible level, get a new tenant in that likes the property, likes the area, and actually
wants to pay and stay.
Exactly. Plastered the room, yeah, new kitchen, tiling. Electrician's got a bit. Jake's gone there. He's put plenty of spotlights in, he's gone for it. But he's got some ratios how he works. There's some calculation he does with a certain amount of meters and equals a certain amount of spotlights. But anyway, so yeah, new laminate, new skirting and things. So should be nice.
Yeah. What do you expect this to rent for once it's ready?
I think we'd be looking in the region of probably £650 a month. 2-bed with where the market rent is at the moment. I think 650 is probably a sensible level.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to explain. It's sort of with it being on a corner. From the outside, it looks quite big.
Yeah, it does.
It's got 3 elevations. It's got left sort of front side.
Yeah.
But when you're actually in it, it's not that big. But yeah, I mean, you can't beat sort of, I don't know, white walls and
no, just
white
nice.
walls and a sort of a grey carpet. Really, it's
Nice and blank canvas, nice and fresh.
Yeah, nice and fresh. Yeah, I think. Yeah, this room was plastered. We might have utilised the existing doors. I can't remember now. But yeah, just been fully decorated, new flooring, and does the job. It's quite nice. That outlook over the new build site actually is quite, rather than being in the depths of
Yeah.
hardly behind, having the outlook over that new event site is favourable, I guess, in a way, because it's quite a nice development that.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything, not like when we were in Junction Road where there was a bit of kind of steel works and structural
Yeah.
stuff and knocked walls down and
Yeah.
added bedrooms. This was a bit more kind of.
I would class this refurb as a tenancy turnaround. It's what you do. It's what you do when the tenants leave. Liquor paint, new carpets, and yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing.
you'd hope not to do a new kitchen every time,
No.
or a new bathroom every time. But
No.
other than that, I fully agree.
Yeah.
With you. I think it's been. So they moved out, or they were evicted. Sorry, early September. Here we are, late October. So yeah, probably about six weeks to do what we've done here, which is it's not really quick, but it's not. It's probably a sensible amount of time.
You're quite hands-on with obviously managing your portfolio, aren't you?
Yeah.
You have waiting for this, or when is this going to go to the market? How long do you expect it before it's going to be producing some income?
So yeah, the letting agent's coming tomorrow. So the decorator's outside painting the externals at the moment. The letting agent's coming tomorrow, gonna list it, and would hope there's a kind of good level of interest with kind of the work that we've done and the condition that it's in. Yeah, I'd hope that kind of within the next sort of 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's tenanted, somebody's moved in, and or perhaps sooner.
Yeah, hopefully. Because what I always have one eye on, especially this time of the year, is like I think the market slows down with it being Christmas. No one really wants to.
True.
So the quicker we're going into November now. So if like you say, this is probably a good time to get it listed because once you go into December, things do start slowing down. Yeah.
So there's probably a window of opportunity.
There's a window of opportunity to get someone in for Christmas.
True.
Yeah.
True. That's the plan. Just in terms of like a longer term view, if you're going to keep the asset for the decades and the years, you might as well get the extractor fans in and get the spotlights in.
Yeah.
If for the period that it's vacant, and then once it's done, and hopefully it'll be a bit passive going forward. I think.
Yeah, it needs doing at some point, doesn't it? So it's like when you do it. But yeah, just that's something that I've noticed that we wouldn't usually do. So it's interesting how you do yours.
I think like with the new laminate down in the kitchen, the reason why we did that was just because with like putting the new flooring down, like it made sense to put new skirting on top of the laminate, so you have to have a scotia trim.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we're at one of Ollie's finished projects now. So this will give you an idea of what the finished products look like. Obviously, we started at one in the very early stages. So we'll go around this one. We'll talk through the numbers, how Ollie secured the deal, and the process of getting it to sold. Let's do it.
Up to you, mate. Where do you want to go? Matt, kitchen, living room. Up to you.
We'll go in the living room first. So there's one question I've got, which I think might be beneficial to the viewers, is why did you choose that particular agent? Was there a reason behind it? Yeah,
Pattinson's a good kind of reputable active agent in the area and bought kind of quite a lot through them. So it was an auction purchase that they said to us before it was going to market to then go to their auction. So yeah, sort of relationship more than anything to answer your question.
So you bought it from them and then you were going to pass it back to them to sell?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly that. So bought through them, paid their auction fee with the agreement that sort of if they could indicate. To be honest, mate, it didn't actually go to auction. It was bought under auction terms, but because there was with the relationship and sort of Pattinson's helping me give me an idea as to where the offer would need to be and where the seller was happy and where we'd be happy buying it at. It didn't actually go to the auction date. We bought it prior, but it was still under the terms of the auction. Obviously,
you mentioned the relationship that you have with this particular agent. At what level is that relationship? So is that at the owner? Is that just someone who's really good in the office? Is that in a particular office if they've got multiple branches? What does that relationship look like? Because I think it'd be beneficial for people who want to build relationships with agents, how they can do that and what level within the company they need to go at in order to get these quite favourable deals from agents.
Yeah, the relationships with a few people in the branch. So yeah, the branch manager and a couple of the negotiators and also actually the valuer. So to be honest, quite a few people within that office, but that's only just with their Stockton office. But I think that Stockton office also covers Middlesbrough. But if we went up to Durham or Newcastle, the relationship stops because we don't really buy up there. So it's just with that office.
Tell us about the numbers on this one, with purchase, refurb fees, and then what you managed to get it sold for.
Yeah. So yeah, purchase was agreed at 84,000. The auction fee was 2,400, which after VAT was I think it was all in for about 3,000 auction fee, stamp duty. So we're all in for, broadly speaking, 90,000. Purchased on a bridge with Together. They were the only lender that I felt confident with that could complete within 28 days. Did the work, and from memory, did it just inside 15,000. Purchased at 84 plus auction fees, stamp duty, cost of finance, etc. Spent just inside 15, and with agreed an offer with a first-time buyer who want to be near family in the area at 130.
So obviously with the recent changes and stuff, with you having this going through legals, what's your thought process been with that? Have you been a bit scared with that? If you had, obviously I know it only got announced yesterday, but will you be checking in with the buyers to see, are you going to wait to hear from them, or just hopefully just not hear anything about it and just,
I don't think with selling to this instance a first time buyer, the sort of the increase in stamp duty from 3 to 5%, that won't play a part with this deal. But if you're selling to other investors going forward at this kind of value, sort of early to mid 100, so and they've got additional properties and they're now going to factor in 5% rather than 3. It's probably a conversation to be had. But with them, doesn't apply on this one with it being a residential purchase. So rewire. Didn't need to touch the bathroom, which was a bonus, because I think the family that were in here, she was pregnant and they needed another bedroom. They wanted a 4-bed. So fortunately, they got like a Worcester Bosch boiler, so like the Rolls Royce of boilers, which was cost saving. New bathroom that they put in, which we kept obviously. So we've just focused on rewire, new kitchen, taking a wall down in the kitchen to kind of make it a bit better. And then sort of about half the property was plastered. And then decorating and flooring. So in here, Matty, there was a wall here, mate, that encroached quite a lot of the room. It came up to, I don't know, roughly about here. And there was a door just here. So a section of brickwork was cut out there. This wall was taken out here, which then in turn has kind of produced an open plan kitchen diner where you can have a table down there, say TV on the wall, a couple of stools here. No, thanks, mate. It's a Howden's kitchen. I think this is a recent worktop that they've. No, thanks, mate. So it's like a bit of a utility kind of area here. Something we should have done. I know why the plasterer didn't do it, because it's going to get covered up by a washing machine. But just visually, should have been plastered in hindsight. But useful space, washer dryer, and then it's kind of door into the garage. Not big enough for a car. They're strange, some of these houses on Roseworth, because it is what it is, but useful for putting stuff in, I guess. Scott, don't put this in, but with this being, so this was bought in August. So we did the work, which took about 8 weeks. But what's now happened is, so that the resi buyer, being a first-time buyer, with the 6-month rule with lenders, their lender doesn't permit them to buy from us within 6 months. So their lender's not satisfied that, know about the 6 month.
The uplift, they're not happy with.
I don't think the uplift's not a problem. The valuation's happened. They're in receipt of the mortgage offer. It's valued up okay. It's just they're not willing to lend to somebody that the current owners, say us, within 6 months. So we've got to wait until 6 months expires. So we can't complete on the sale of this until February.
I don't understand that. Say that again.
So because we only bought this in August. So what the buyer's lender is saying, so they're raising like a resi mortgage. They're saying because the current owners haven't owned it for 6 months, we will not complete on your mortgage as a first-time buyer until 6 months has expired.
Right.
So even though legally the conveyancing could be earmarked a pre-Christmas completion, but it's not going to happen because they're restricted on which lenders that they can use for kind of their own circumstances. So it's a bit of a downfall, because I thought get in, do the refurb as quickly as possible, get an offer agreed, put it into legals, and kind of complete as soon as possible.
It's standard, isn't it? Have you got new skirting boards down here as well?
I think the couple of the family that were in here before, they had the skirting down, and we've just sort of
look way better than just your normal pencil skirting.
The pencil round, like I don't know what this is, Taurus or OG or I'm not enjoying it. So it's one of I think it's one of them, but it does look a bit more fancy perhaps than like a pencil round or a chamfered edge skirting. Yeah.
So you've just painted the carpets up here.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a bathroom suite as well?
No, so the reason why the refurb was kept relatively low is this is a suite that they put in, and there was no point in changing it, to be honest, Matty, because it's So they only, to be honest, mate, they only had a bath in. So that reminds me, the plumber he fitted the shower head, so the mixer shower there, because the boiler's just in there. So that was easy. Screen, there wasn't a bath panel, just little things. There wasn't skirting in here. It's all right. But yeah, we've just kept, they obviously spent a few quid on it, and it's perfectly fine. That was the big saving, Matty. The Worcester Bosch boiler. Yeah. There she is. That was the...
Oh, it's beauty, that.
Yeah, it's nice, yeah. So, yeah. My eyes lit up when I saw that. Save a couple of grand. So yeah, but no, it's just they're good size. These properties in Roseworth, good 3-bed solid houses. Yeah, it would work as a BRR. To be fair, I think just with sort of our circumstances of going through the phase of doing a few flips at the moment, but it would have worked as a BRR. Probably not left too much money in either.
How do you manage to keep on top of all these refurbishments and all the projects that you've got going on? Do you have any tips or you'd advise people to do to keep on top of them?
I'd probably say communication's important, like regular contact with your trades and checking in. If you're local to the area and you're able to, so say if you're working during the day at wherever you work, if you can pop in evenings and see where the progress is up to and speak to the trades when you can and just have a good idea what's going on, that's certainly beneficial. Yeah. Or if you're using like a main contractor, sort of a one-stop shop, and they're managing all the individual trades and you've just got one point of contact, I know we spoke about it earlier, that would be a lot easier to kind of manage. But yeah, I think just knowing where they're up to really is important.
Do you use any type of software, or is it just all through WhatsApp and phone calls?
I'm quite old school where, sort of pen and paper to a degree. I do use Asana. I use just for project management in terms of the various trades that are doing work and kind of a list for them, which I can share with them. So Asana's maybe really the only one that I use to kind of keep track, and then it's just sort of popping in, seeing how they're getting on and knowing what's next.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can have the fanciest software in the world, but if you're not doing the basics like popping in, checking on progress and picking up the phone and communicating with them.
You can do overkill with it, can't you? Where you've got these fancy spreadsheets as to like this person, the electrician starting then, followed by the plumber, and then the plasterers following 2 weeks after that, and
never goes like that, does it?
Doesn't in reality.
You take more time changing the spreadsheets. And,
exactly. You want to be sort of feet on the ground, look. Sort of regular contact and regularly coming to them if you can, or if you're not local but you've got somebody feet on the ground in that location that can go regularly, then that's probably the answer.
So we're at the end of today, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed the journey of seeing Ollie's projects from start, middle and end. If you want to follow Ollie and what he's up to in his journey, I'll leave some links to his social medias. And we're going to be doing more of these types of day in the lives with property investors, business owners and entrepreneurs. So if you have liked it, please leave a like, a comment and subscribe to the channel as well. And with that one, I'll see you in the next video.